Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to Nature Obscura, a podcast where nature and the supernatural collide. I'm Marissa.
And I'm Grace. Each week, we share spooky happenings from the great outdoors, from cryptids to curses, ghosts to witches, and everything in between.
Now, while we love a haunted house or a scary hospital story, that's not what we're here for. We're taking you around the globe to explore where nature and the supernatural intersect.
At the beginning of each episode, we'll briefly share any spooky or naturey encounters we've had over the past week before diving into the main story.
So grab your flashlight, listen closely, and let's step into the strange together.
So Marissa, how was this past week?
It's been good. Work's been busy. We've gotten in a lot of birds, but I had a couple spooky things, kind of. One just as I left work to get today. But first,
Perfect.
I'm gonna talk about the spookiest musical probably. But I saw Phantom of the Opera on Wednesday last week, and it was awesome.
That's so great.
The set design, like I was never a theater kid, but seeing a musical live like that, it kind of made me get it. Like it was really awesome.
Mm-hmm. Was it like the Gerard Butler movie?
Yes, it was so accurate. Like, so I saw the movie before, obviously, I saw the play or the musical, but it was so similar. One of my favorites, I love the setting of it. And I think that's part of like why I love the movie so much. And I was so excited to see the musical is because I love the candelabras and the costume design and just how like the gothic look. It's just really cool. And it was so similar. And just how they did it, how they moved like the set pieces out of the way in between scenes, it was truly magical. They did the chandelier scene where the
Mm-hmm.
chandelier, they had a giant chandelier fall down in front of like above the audience. It was so cool.
That's
My
so
favorite,
dramatic.
it was so dramatic. Do you know the scene in the movie where they're like going through underneath the tunnels of the theater and like the river and there's fog and mist and candles everywhere?
Yeah, what song is that? I forget. It's the main song. It's the Phantom of the Opera, right? Or are you talking at the very
Honestly,
end?
they did it twice. Honestly, I don't remember the song. I was too distracted by the foggy mist. I don't remember the song. But they somehow did that on the stage. Like they had candles rise up from the floor that were lit and they somehow reenacted it perfectly on stage. I was like, how are they doing this? So yeah, I
That's
just have
so
a whole new
beautiful.
appreciation for theater and set design and it
It's
was
art,
spooky.
and I give those people props. I mean, like, literally props, right?
Right.
But yeah, I'm sure it was amazing. I've only ever seen Wicked, but Phantom of the Opera is like top on my list.
It's coming to Detroit next month just for $1 billion. But
Right. I'll just shell out like $1,000
yeah,
per
it's
ticket.
fine. Win the
Easy.
lottery.
Just bring my binoculars,
There you go. But yeah, that was really cool. I was closing up at work today and we were about to head out. Pitch black outside. I still had a volunteer there, and as I'm putting away some dishes, I hear the doorbell ring, but I'm like it was like, "Wait, the doorbell's no one's supposed to be here." And so I kinda, like, looked up at the volunteer, and I was like, "Was that the doorbell?" And they're like, "Yeah, it was." So I walked, I opened the door, no one's there, and I have no idea what caused the doorbell to ring. I've never had it, like, phantomly ring before, so that was fun. Like, I looked all
Yeah.
around, there wasn't a car or anything, so just went
That
about
is
closing.
weird.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, it is windy out. A wind specifically, I've never had that happen. We have had other weird things happen on and off at that center. So there's always spooky kind of things going on at the center. I don't say always, but enough over the years, I've just gotten used to it. And I
Yeah,
know
I
where
feel like we've both had experiences there. And one, it was so similar, the voice coming from the basement, like the
yeah,
male voice specifically coming from the basement, and we've both heard it at separate times.
that was so scary. That was the one time I was genuinely freaked out. That's the only I mean, I feel like basements in general are weird and I avoid them, but that is the one area of work where I don't like to be there alone at night in the basement by myself.
Mhm. Understandable.
But kind of with that, it reminded me of a letter I got in the mail and like what kind of atmosphere work might have. Did I tell you that we got advertisement in the mail for a pet psychic?
No.
Yes.
Advertisement in the mail? They're sending mail
Yes.
on these?
Yes, a pet psychic mailed us and was basically saying, "Hey, I do pet psychic services if you would like any." And I'm just kinda terrified as to what would come up if she came to work.
All the birds. Well, and the cremated animals outside.
Like, I'm not trying to be morbid, but there's like, we do a lot of good work, we do a lot of releases, but there's also, euthanasias and deaths. I'm like, who is she gonna get, like, coming across to her? Because 'Cause I'm scared.
She gets into the building, she's just overwhelmed.
Right, right. It's like a paranormal investigation. She has to take a step outside, take a breath. The energy in here is too heavy. Lord, I was just like, it amazed me. It happened in the summer, and I just thought of it after this happened. I was like, "Oh, I gotta tell Grace about this." And I was like, wait a minute, did I even tell her about the pet psychic?
Oh my god.
I did not reach out to her because I'm too scared. I'm not ready for that.
I've seen stuff online where people will go to pet psychics and they'll give their it's so ridiculous. They'll give their pet like a word to say. So like this one time it was the word, I forget what it was. It was like umbrella or something. And the psychic said it. It's like, "What?"
I mean, that's impressive,
I
especially if
know.
it's a random word like that. It's not like walk or
Yeah.
treat.
In the same sentence though, the psychic was saying that the cat thought the owner was too ADHD.
Whoa.
It's too good, I know.
What have you been up to this week? Any naturey, haunted, anything interesting?
Hmm. Thinking of workplaces that might be haunted. So I work in a building that was an old casket factory. Did I ever tell you that?
You did when you first started, and I completely forgot, so I'm excited all over again.
Yeah, apparently several presidents have been in caskets from this factory. Now, my coworkers and I, we all kind of joke that it's haunted, but I've never personally had an experience. My coworker, she says that she has. Things that just don't line up, like voices whenever you're there alone or just random bumps, but it is also a very old brick building. So, ghosts or just an old building. I don't know.
Right. Oh, that's
But
so
yeah.
interesting.
But I love the lore. I love lore of old buildings.
So what I think our work used to be, or at least what we told the interns one year as a joke several years ago, was it used to be a old folks home. So many people died there because that's our weird sense of humor where we were then gonna pretend that there was hauntings occurring increasingly throughout the summer. So this was in 2022, I think we did this. Me and the coworker that were doing it forgot. So we just lied for no reason. Like there wasn't even a joke. It was just we told people that that's what it was. And we realized, in that winter, oh my God, we never did that. But somehow the legend continues. And every year, like I've had interns ask, even this past summer, I'm like, how is this rumor still going around? It was never an old folks home.
They wanted it to be, though,
They want it to be so bad. I'm like, it wasn't. But
but it never
I was
was.
like, maybe I should start these fake hauntings. I already have like a zombie baby we hide around the fall. Bring it back.
I love that. I love that so much. Has anyone actually come to you with anything that's happened?
The staff, mainly when working alone, just some weird
Mhm.
things that happen, like hearing things when they're upstairs versus downstairs. Obviously not from like the patients in care, but sounding like there's another person there with them and they're by themselves.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'd be curious to know when the house was built because anything could have happened in that house, you know?
Right. I guess I don't want to think on it too much because I am working all day by myself tomorrow and I have no volunteers tomorrow, so it's just me.
Gosh, that's gonna be a lot of work.
It is. We got so many birds in.
Well, all of that is great banter, but shall we get into it?
Before we get into today's story, we should talk about why we started the podcast. So basically, I had a light bulb moment in the middle of last minute wedding planning, like 4 days before my wedding in October. Um, and I had so much stuff to do, and instead my brain just was all of a sudden, Nature Obscura, a supernatural podcast. I love that the word supernatural has natural in it, and I love spooky, I love nature. I was like, why not? So instead of doing the many needed things on my to-do list for my wedding that was 4 days away, I hopped on Canva and started DIYing some logos for like 3 hours and then did all the wedding stuff later. And then, yeah, I asked you about it and I was like, I brought it up at a book club meeting later that month, kind of being sly and hoping like maybe someone will want to do it with me. I don't know. I'll just put it out there. And you happily were very excited about it.
Yeah, and I feel like this podcast is a really good mesh of both of our personalities. And you're kind of more of a spooky kind of person, and I'm more of a naturey person, which you like nature too, of course. We love our birds and all of that, and hiking and caves and whatnot. Yeah.
It's a good combination of both of our interests, and you bring out the more naturey side of me because we both love the same things. But yeah, like you were saying, you like more so nature. I love nature, but I also love the spooky, and I gravitate towards that automatically, so it's a perfect mesh of both.
Yeah, and you bring out the nightmares in me.
Aw, that's so sweet.
You give me nightmares with your stories, so I
Give
really
me
do
nightmares.
appreciate that, Marissa.
I do wanna shout out my friend. She's been listening. She's scared of the podcast. She's, like, scared of things spooky. Asia. She messaged me, 2 nights ago. She's like, "I don't know if I can listen to the podcast anymore. I've been so freaked out all week." I was like, "Oh,
That means we're doing our job.
no." I know. I was like, "I didn't think it was that scary yet." But I thought that was sweet.
It's dog man. It's the abs. It has to be.
It has to be. It's so unnatural.
No, men or dog
Dog men
boys.
the dog it was the dog teens. The dog teen boys is what drew the line.
But we'll have to do a Florida episode.
We will.
Yeah, so on that note, shall we get started with the story?
Let's shall take us somewhere warm and far away out of the cold.
I do want to give all of the listeners a warning. This story has quite a few Spanish words. And as a native English speaker, I am terrible. I try to do the accents. It's kind of awkward for me. I'm so sorry ahead of time. I'm just
You
going to
got
try to be
this.
confident about it.
Just
So,
confidence is key.
yeah, here we go. Today, we're traveling to one of the most biologically rich places in Mexico, Catemaco. The name is thought to mean place of the burnt houses, which honestly already sounds like the start of a ghost story. Catemaco is located in the state of Veracruz in eastern Mexico, and it sits inside a protected reserve with incredibly diverse terrain. Within just one region, you can find volcanic mountains, lowland rainforests, wetlands, rivers, lakes, and mangrove swamps. The climate here is warm, very humid, and extremely rainy. That combination creates perfect conditions for dense tropical forests to thrive. Everywhere you look, there are towering trees, thick vines, giant ferns, and brightly colored orchids. One of the reasons this vegetation is so lush is because of the soil. Much of the region sits on volcanic ground, young soil created from ash and lava flows. Volcanic soil is packed with minerals, which makes it incredibly fertile. Plants grow fast, forests grow thick, and life piles on top of life. At the heart of this landscape lies Lake Catemaco, a massive freshwater lake framed by the Sierra de San Martin Mountains. Those mountains are volcanic as well, and streams and rivers from the surrounding rainforests feed into the lake. Not far away is another vital ecosystem, Laguna de Sante Comapan. This is a mangrove wetland system with a mix of fresh and brackish water. Tangled roots protect coastlines from erosion, filter pollutants from the water, and provide nursery habitats for fish, crabs, shrimp, and countless other species. In recent years, restoration of these mangroves has helped bring back wildlife that had been disappearing from the area. All of these different habitats packed together create one incredible result: extreme biodiversity. Catemaco is part of a larger region called Los Tuxtlas. Within this region are over 12,000 species of insects, around 115 species of mammals, more than 440 species of birds, and at least 122 species of reptiles and amphibians.
Can we go here,
I know. Can we take a vacation here, please?
please?
All of that combined is an astonishing amount of life in one relatively small area, and the birds here deserve some serious attention. Like you guys thought I wasn't going to talk about the birds. Los Tuxtla is considered one of the most important regions for birds in all of Mexico, full of fruit, insects, flowers, and perfect nesting sites for the birds. One amazing species is the black-crested coquette, a tiny hummingbird with a spiky black crest and bright orange feathers. It's so small and flashy that it looks less like a bird and more like a flying jewel.
Oh, it's got, like, an alfalfa, like, hair feathers.
It's so cute, and I love the orange beak. Oh my gosh, it's so adorable.
Oh, amazing.
But one of the most important birds in this region is the Tuxtla quail dove. This bird is found nowhere else on Earth, and it lives on the forest floor, quietly walking through thick undergrowth. And for years, scientists feared it might already be extinct. Habitat loss pushed it to the brink, and even today it's considered endangered, with between 250 and 1,000 remaining in the wild. They just don't really know. When I was looking for pictures of this bird, I actually had a hard time finding anything. It was mostly just the same few photos.
Yeah, these guys are amazing. I looked them up on, like, just to see what they were about. There really isn't much known about them either. Like, not even just they, like, don't know their behaviors or their habits. It's like more research needs to be done because how are you supposed to conserve a species you don't know anything about? It's just amazing and sad, and, like, in a sad way. It's just so weird.
And overall, it is kind of a more drab kind of looking dove, but it's still beautiful in its own way and it deserves to be protected, you know?
Right. Every, like, living being has, like, an intrinsic right to existence, beautiful or not, except maybe
Exactly.
mosquitoes.
Yeah, we can get rid of mosquitoes and ticks and
Maybe those guys, I don't know.
now this is all a perfect reminder that places like Catemaco aren't just beautiful, they're irreplaceable. The mammals of this region are just as fascinating. You can find ocelots, anteaters, coatis, raccoons, and one of my new favorite animals, the jaguarundi. Now, I looked it up. There are several ways to say this name. This is just what one of the videos I saw said. Some had the J as an H. If you've never heard of a jaguarundi before, you aren't alone. I actually didn't know this was a real animal before I started researching this. These are one of those animals that kind of make you say, wait, that's a real thing? Which I love finding animals like that. I remember when I found out the secretary bird was a thing, I was blown away.
Right?
Jaguarundis don't look like typical cats. They have long bodies, short legs, and long tails, almost like a mix between a house cat and a weasel. They come in two color forms, reddish brown and dark gray. And both colors can even appear in the same litter. Unlike most wild cats, they are active mainly during the day and hunt birds, rodents, and reptiles, often near water. Jaguarundis are highly adaptable and can live in rainforests, scrublands, and even deserts, which is why they're listed as least concern. They once lived in the United States, but are now considered locally extinct here. Primarily, they were living in Arizona and Texas. And despite their flexibility, habitat loss remains their biggest threat. Also, in some of my research, I came upon this article that said there was a random author that decided he thought Florida should have these animals. So he released a bunch in Florida, and people will sometimes still say they see them to this day. But there's no confirmed sightings.
That's such a Florida thing to do.
It really is. Like, hey, we have everything else. Let's get one of these fellas. It's just a big house cat.
They have so many issues with invasive species there. Oh my goodness.
They do. Catemaco and the Los Tuxtlas region are incredible centers of biodiversity. The warm humid rainforests and wetlands provide perfect habitat for many amphibians, including tree frogs, toads, and glass frogs. Frogs play a crucial role in controlling insects and acting as early warning signs of environmental health. The forests are also full of hardworking leafcutter ants that recycle plant material and enrich the soil, along with a rich variety of medicinal plants important to both traditional healing and modern science. It's a place where small creatures and ecosystems do big, important work. Unfortunately, even a place this amazing hasn't escaped human impact. Deforestation and habitat fragmentation have been major issues as forests are cleared for agriculture and development. When large forests are broken into small patches, animals lose the ability to move freely, find mates, and maintain healthy populations. Some species have already disappeared from the area entirely, including the scarlet macaw and the harpy eagle. But there is hope. Local communities and conservation groups are working on reforestation projects, protecting wetlands, and promoting ecotourism as a way to make protecting nature economically valuable. And despite the challenges, Catemaco is still breathtaking. As you're about to hear from my co host Marissa, it's also long been considered a sanctuary for something else entirely.
Great job. I do actually have a quick question. Do you know why glass frogs are see-through? What is the benefits of that?
Bro, I don't know, but we have glass frogs at work,
That's
and
why I asked, 'cause
yeah, like you can see their hearts beating. Maybe it makes them harder to see, like natural selection wise, like they're just invisible. Maybe they just blend in right with the actually, the glass frogs are impossible to find in their enclosures. That's it.
Really?
So whenever the last time I went looking for glass frogs, I couldn't find any. But they're
I
in there.
love that.
Yeah.
I love
So
that.
they're really small, green, and see-through.
Camouflage? We don't need that. We'll just be invisible. That's
How
awesome.
about see-through?
That's so cool. So, this area is not only rich in biodiversity, including the mystifying glass frogs, but also in culture, serving as a crossroads of beliefs and long known for witchcraft and sorcery. The land provides protection and refuge for the many beings that live there, and is also mystical in its own right, with numerous places believed to hold spiritual power. Lake Catemaco is a source of magic in and of itself, with Brujos interpreting signs in the movement of water, reflections in the water, mist in the lake, and more. Rituals are performed on the lake shore or in boats. They also may observe animal behavior, including any unusual animal calls as possible omens or something that is supernatural. The magical energy that this lake holds, along with the sacred geography of the Cerro Mona Blanca and the caves, is said to amplify supernatural abilities and can even make certain mystical beings, with the water of the lake seen as sort of a conduit between the humans and otherworldly realms. The Serra Blanca is a prominent hill located above Lake Catemaco and is considered by many local practitioners as one of the most powerful places. It is thought to be a common meeting point for master sorcerers, especially during the Congress of the Witches. They say that the hill carries a dual energy, both protective and perilous, with some traveling there for spiritual cleansings, while others warning to stay clear, that you may have unsuspecting encounters with deceptive entities. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what the Congress of the Witches is a little later. Basically, really cool festival. It's awesome. I also want to talk about, I'm going to use a lot of different words to describe different people that hold spiritual powers. They all have slightly different names. Some go by all of the names, some only go by some. So I kind of bounced around like different names throughout the episode, but there's sorcerers, witches, some just go by healers or like curanderas. There's so many different things. And then most commonly I'm going to say throughout, because this is what's most commonly used, is brujo, which is witch. It's direct translation. So yeah, just a heads up. Also, 95% of what I got in my research was translated from Spanish articles, like from Mexico. So that was really fun. And I am trusting my translation tools on this. So, yes. We'll dive into a spirit called El Mano Blanco. He's often described as a guardian of the hill's powers, so the Cerro Mano Blanco, aptly named. Depending on the person telling the story, the spirit may appear as a white furred monkey or a shape shifting familiar of powerful brujos. Popular lore claims that early major sorcerers made pacts here, exchanging offerings, even sometimes blood, for supernatural abilities. Local guides to the area report strange lights, such as orbs or will-o-wisps in the area, and animal sounds with no visible source at night. Some claim sightings of the white monkey spirit who appears to lost travelers or at pivotal moments during a spiritual practitioner's initiation or ceremony. So here comes a phrase I have never heard of before until researching this area, and I need to dive more into magical cartography. It's the conceptual mapping of sacred geography studied by ethnologists and anthropologists, including CSS, which is English translation, Center for Research and Higher Studies in Social Anthropology. Mano Blanco sits at one vortex in a triad of power sites alongside Lake Catemaco and Isla de los Monos, which is apparently an island full of monkeys. I'm obsessed. So they form a spiritual triangle believed to regulate balance between the light and dark practices, which suits this area's intermixing of the two. It's considered an axis mundi, a symbolic center of the world and local cosmology where both the earthly and spiritual realms meet as a result. The site has become sort of like a modern pilgrimage point for seekers of white magic.
What do you mean by white magic?
So, white magic generally means healing, sort of positive magics, magic that doesn't include curses and vendettas and revenge, which is generally
Gotcha.
considered dark magic or black magic. So, I would say it could be all sorts of things. I'm pretty sure I did do some research on it, and I think I dive more into it later in. But yeah, it's often involving, like, healing and purification and positive things. So, the Cueva de Diablo is a natural cave located in an area of dense tropical jungle and forest terrain roughly 8 miles from Catemaco proper. Similar to Mono Blanco, People gather at this cave primarily on the first Friday of March to recharge energies or do other spiritual ceremonies. Reports describe the presence of candles, letters, photographs, offerings, and animal sacrifices. Visitors describe the cave and its surroundings as an intense, and to even some, hostile atmosphere.
I would say if they're doing animal sacrifices, it's a hostile atmosphere.
Yeah, it's definitely some of the practices can be pretty intense. And one thing that continuously amazed me throughout the research across a variety of sources is just the blend of all the different spiritualities and practitioners and people in this area practicing witchcraft or whatever you want to call it in this area will look so different just from one person to the next. They all have their own blend on things. So and yeah, for some, that's animal sacrifice, unfortunately. So supposedly, nearby markings on the cave and rocks includes words such as Satan is alive and cave not for the curious. Others have reported finding voodoo style objects. So for many, the first Friday of March may hold little significance. It's just another work day for some in a likely gloomy, rainy, or snowy day in early March. For others, like the local Brujos and curious visitors of the Catemaco region, it is the Night of the Witches. The whole weekend is the National Congress of the Sorcerers, or Congress of the Witches. The main event is on that Friday, that first Friday. There's a huge procession where witches and followers walk from the Plaza del Pescador to a ceremonial area. In private, black magic rituals occur, which include revenges and curses, like I talked about earlier. Most are done by different witches, each in their own way, with many aiming to rid of dark energies and cleanse those attending's souls. On this night, depending where you'll go, you may find pentagrams of fire, symbolizing the closing of a portal, giant burning pentagrams 10 feet tall,
My.
yeah. Or the blood sacrifice of the goat. At others, you'll find food offerings for Mother Earth. And then in even other areas, you'll find white magic rituals occurring involving healing and purification of the soul. Across the lake on that Friday, there will be boats crossing, often with torches going towards the Ceramana Blanca for rituals. You would think this gathering has been around for centuries with how much spiritual energy and all the different history in this area. And with the fact that over 10,000 people a year attend, but it's actually relatively recent. Modern witchcraft practices have evolved in the region greatly, with the first big March ritual beginning in the 1970s by a prominent figure, Brujo Mayor Gonzola Aguirre. Rituals performed during the event include limpias, or spiritual cleansings, chanting and incense burning, evoking both saints and darker sources. I love an incense burning. I actually forgot to burn one. I burn one at the beginning of every episode we do. This is my first week where I forgot to do it, and it does feel a little weird.
Well, you're not in your normal library.
I'm not. I have the incense burner here, but I forgot. So I had to do a deep dive once I found this out because eggs equals birds. They also interpret eggs by cracking them into the water.
That's interesting. Do you think they look different from each other?
They do. It's a form of divination. So the goal is to observe how the yolk and egg white behave in the water. So bubbles may indicate energy blockages or negative influences. Strings or like trails in egg white may show spiritual attachments or stress. And then whether depending like if the yolk sinks, rises or breaks can indicate physical or emotional conditions depending on which it does. And of course, most obvious, the shape of the egg parts. You look to see what it looks like. If it forms figures, letters or shapes and then you interpret it symbolically.
Can we do this? Next time we're
Yes.
together, can we just crack some eggs?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
What's the scariest shape an egg could form? A skull.
It would be a skull.
It would be a
Yeah.
skull. Because 'Cause I'm like, "What could it be?" I was just thinking of a cross, but I'm like, "That's not inherently scary." Though I would be scared. I
I would be
honestly.
scared, honestly, if it made any shape.
It made a letter. If it made a G, like, for great that's impressive. There's so many, like, curves to it.
That would be impressive. I mean, I don't know if I think I've only ever seen it as a circle.
Are the egg prices down now a bit? I think they are. I think we
Yeah,
can
we
do
can't be
this.
wasting eggs. What are we doing?
I make eggs for I don't know if you feed out eggs to your animals at all where you work, but we
We don't.
do.
Frogs don't eat eggs.
That's what I figured, but I don't know, enrichment? That'd be fun.
I'll
Okay.
just use frog eggs. There we go.
That's like a whole
Those can
different
make
form of
shapes.
divination. That could make even something different. I love
Yeah,
it.
or even like a toad egg. Toad eggs, they can make shapes.
Though they definitely can. They
Yeah, because 'cause they're
definitely
so stringy.
Yeah. That'd be a good yeah, and there's something to that. They come from the earth, there's something to that. Okay. So it's rumored that celebrities and politicians come to Catemaco for spiritual protection and maybe egg divination.
You never know.
On this first Friday of March, Brujos believe their powers are cleansed and renewed this night. The lunar energy is also stronger, aiding in rituals. Throughout the month of March, Catemaco holds a witchcraft convention featuring rituals, shamans, and spiritual journeys. However, you may find not just local brujos or real shamans that offer cleansings and other spiritual services, but fraudulent practitioners who are selling faulty services for a quick penny.
How would you even know the difference?
I don't know. I do a lot of research. I know some suggested having a guide of sorts, or maybe I would probably say that going to the visitor center, going to areas and recommending reputable people. So this isn't just some sort of underground sort of festival. It's even advertised on the state website. Like
Wow.
the state holds a actual festival and parade for it. So it's embraced, and that tourism and the money that comes along with it is also embraced. So I would say going kind of through the official channels in that regard. So many people come to this festival every year, upwards of 10,000 each year in most recent times. And while they're originally coming just to observe different cultures and waves, enjoying the rich biodiversity and scenery of the area, many visitors feel forever changed. What begins as a trip for some begins an initiation into the spiritual, whatever that may be for that person. Since the Olmec times, the Catemaco region has been home to healers, shamans, and spiritual beings, the magic workings intertwined with daily life. It's no wonder then that the area is referred to as the land of the witches. The town's beliefs do not come from just one source, but are blended with Catholicism, African deities, pagan traditions, and more. An example of the Catholic and indigenous traditions merging include water rituals that both honor the Catholic saints but also simultaneously invoke the lake spirits of Lake Catemaco. Overall, the region's spiritual practices center around the duality of both black and white magic. They are in harmony with one another and represent both the good and bad. Curanderos, or traditional folk healers that participate in healing and cleansing, use a mix of practices, often involving herbs like rosemary, rue, basil, and plants like copal and tobacco. Others may perform witchcraft and practice spells, hexes, and curses. All these rituals showcase the living magic of Catemaco. The region's folklore is filled with stories of powerful spirits and shape shifting witches. The first folktale I'm going to tell you about is of La Cochina. The story goes that this woman's husband was jealous and controlling, and he forced her to stay at home and forbid her from ever leaving. Lame. However, unbeknownst to him, the wife is actually a bruja, and while he sleeps, she transforms into a pig and wanders throughout the town. On one of the bruja's nights out on the town, a grumpy neighbor spotted her inside his home and, thinking he just had a wild pig in his house, took a machete and cut off a chunk of the pig's hind limb.
No,
That's gotta hurt.
that's horrible.
The next morning, the woman, back to her natural state, is discovered at home with the missing chunk of hind limb. Eventually, the husband does learn what is happening each night and comes home to confront her. But before he can do so, intuition or her witchy powers, she just knew. She decided to flee and vanished forever. So, another common legend is the Nawales, meaning hidden or disguised. They're a commonly acknowledged being of the region. However, they're actually not mythical spirits, but humans with mythical powers. They're humans, often witches, who are believed to transform into animals. So, kind of like Locochina. Locals say that some can shapeshift into jaguars, pumas, or other creatures in the night. Side note, why would she want to transform into a pig? Or do they choose? You know?
Why would you not choose something better?
I like pigs, but if I can shapeshift and especially, people eat pigs in
Yeah,
this
why
region.
would
I
you
don't
wanna
know.
be a prey item?
Yeah, I would be
I
a
mean, to each their own, maybe a pig was her spirit animal. We don't know her. We don't
that's
know her
true,
life.
I'm not sure how it picks them. That's very true. I would be a jaguarundi
Perfect.
or the little coquette hummingbird thing, that was really cute too. Locals say that some can shapeshift into jaguars, pumas, or other creatures in the night. It can also mean they access spiritual power through a deep connection with their animal counterpart. In classical beliefs, this isn't just a physical shape changing, it is tied to the person's spiritual energy and shares its life force with the human. When a wound or death affects the animal side, it too will affect the human side. The Nahueles are not always evil, but can be both a helpful healer or a feared shapeshifter, either hunting livestock, casting curses at night, or providing healing and protection. Next, we have the Los Chaneques, coming from the Nahuatl meaning something like inhabitants of dangerous places. This legend appears widely in Mexican folklore. They are often described as small, sprite like elemental spirits with accounts of their features varying depending on the teller. Generally, they are small and childlike bodies with elderly faces. Hate that.
I hate
And
that too. It's
and
a
an
horrible visual.
I know. And an occasional unusual physical trait, like feet pointing the wrong way, for example.
It keeps getting worse.
So just something uncanny, like maybe instead of their ears being on I don't know why, I'm just trying to think of something else could be, but instead of their ears being on either side of their head, they're, like, both at the very top, like
Something that makes you do a double take.
yeah, something that's just off. Their nose is upside down.
That would be the worst one.
That
That
would
really would.
be
If it rains, what happens?
no, I don't know. Or if they got a runny nose, that'd suck. Or they couldn't.
They couldn't. No, maybe we're onto something.
I gotta look more into this.
Yeah.
On Catemaco, Chaneques are believed to inhabit forests, rivers, lagoons, and caves. They're said to cause people to become disoriented or lost, hiding belongings, and causing mischief. Others, though, actually might act as guardians of hidden places in nature. A lot say they do both. So they're acting as guardians of these hidden places by being mischievous. So they're often interwoven with stories or really warnings told by elders and guides about respecting nature and staying on safe paths. So basically, if you get off the trail, Chaneques is gonna come for you, get you disoriented, and steal your iPhone. So stay on
You
the
know, there
trail.
are worse things.
True, true. There actually have been encounters and sightings of these spirits into modern times, including two recently viral clips on TikTok in 2024 and 2025.
Have you seen these clips?
No, I just didn't care enough to. I feel like they're probably hoaxes. I don't know, and with AI these days, I don't trust anything, you know?
No, it's so hard to. Besides, I mean, what if people are just saying that these are the Chinookas when really they're just people who are ugly?
Just a poor child with a old man's face.
Yeah, why are we making fun of these children
Exactly.
with
But
backwards feet and
yeah,
upside
there
down
are new
noses?
right. There are news articles about them. The videos did become pretty widespread, not without controversy, of course, but the videos do show footage of human-like creatures found in rural areas, both from, of course, further distances, both, of course, grainy in footage, which also for 2000 for 2024 and 2025 is also a little more unbelievable. Though I will say my phone at night does have grainy footage quality. Like my phone isn't the
Even when I
best.
just zoom in on anything, it's grainy.
Right. So the final legend begins in 1664 when a
That was so
fisherman
long ago.
I know. It goes way back. This area is just so rich and filled with so much like mysticism and magic and biodiversity. It's just awesome.
It's amazing to me that they would have the exact year as well.
Right. So this final legend begins in 1664 when a fisherman named Juan Catemaco had a remarkable encounter. While in a cave in El Tagal along the shores of Lake Catemaco, he reportedly saw the Virgin Mary appear before him. To prove her presence, she left the imprints of her feet on a basalt rock inside the cave. Soon after, the Virgin was said to have miraculously transformed into a statue right in that very spot. Over time, the site became a shrine, and the apparition itself became associated with the natural powers of the region, including the eruptions of the nearby volcano San Martin, earning her the local name of Virgin of the Volcano. So again, it's the intermixing of Catholicism, you have indigenous history and beliefs, you have African deities, like you just have so much going on here. And I love that it's not staunchly, oh, I'm completely this or I'm completely that. It really is just a melting pot.
Yeah, I think that's really beautiful because
It
that
is.
area has just been affected by so many different cultures and having them all come together, it's very interesting.
So, yeah, to that point, the region is filled with as much wildlife as it is with spiritual diversity, evident in legends ranging from the Nahuatl to Virgin Mary apparitions and more. This area is a treasure trove of magic in whatever form you choose to partake in. If you happen to be in the area, you can tour the lake on a boat, attend cleansings, explore witchcraft markets, hike the preserves, and even join bird watching tours. If you do make your way to this enchanting place, be sure to respect local customs, use a trusted guide, research rituals before participating, and make sure to stay open minded. So, as you can tell by my constant excitement throughout this episode and just awe, I would absolutely love to go here. I think this is my favorite place we've visited so far.
I need to look up photos of this place. I actually didn't do that.
I need to look up more photos too. I saw the islands of the monkeys and the island of the herons. Are you kidding me? Like,
I
that's so
know.
cool.
Yeah, I didn't go into it, but there's a few there's 3 islands in this lake, and there is the island of the herons, there's island of the monkeys, and I read that the monkeys are actually of Asian descent.
I did read that, yeah, it's like a mix of both or something, but yeah, there are a lot of invasive ones.
I can't remember what the 3rd island was called.
It's about like an agouti tree, some type of tree they have there.
Yeah, this looks really beautiful. Even the architecture in these photos, the buildings are really, really cute.
I'm seeing here this beautiful waterfall that looks like it's freaking big as a Niagara. All the monkeys, I've never seen a monkey in the wild. I wanna see a monkey in the wild.
You need to go here.
I do.
Not me looking up flights right now. So, when it comes to the scare scale for this one, I feel like it's not really that scary, it's more just mystical.
Yeah, I don't even know if really the scare scale really applies just to the general area. I mean, there are some legends that could be scary, primarily, the Chinekes, the inhabitants causing mischief, but I respect nature. I'll stay on the trail and mind my business. Like, I'm a good camper. I'm a good, what's it? Citizen of the land or whatever. What's it called?
I know what you're
Take
trying to say.
nothing but
Steward?
photo
A steward of the
Yes, I'm a
land?
good steward of the land, thank you. Take nothing but, photographs and leave nothing but footprints sort of gal, so I don't feel threatened by them.
The only thing I would feel threatened about is the demonic activity in the area. Now, that's coming from someone who has sat on Satan's lap in a satanic temple,
What's his
but
name?
I think that would be a little intimidating for me, being around people who actually believe. Maybe not be around people who actually are into
Like,
practice.
practice
Yeah,
it? Yeah,
practice
it
it.
it is darker for sure, especially when it is kind of against what you believe in and go with. I think that would be difficult. I'm not sure how prominent it is in the region. It definitely seems less prominent or at least more secretly practiced. Though
Mhm.
from my research, it kind of showed continuously that they both coexist with each other, both like black magic and white magic, but black magic is apparently always known to be more powerful than white magic.
Well, maybe they just believe that to have one, you have to have the other.
Right, kind of like I kept thinking kinda yin and yang situation.
Now, animal sacrifice, I'm still not about.
Right.
I understand that it is important in some cultures. I'm not for it. If I saw it, I would probably cry.
Yeah. I'd be like, "This is the wrong ceremony. I meant to attend the, giving some, bread to Mother Earth, my bad."
Yeah.
Or I'm like, "Where's the lady with the eggs?"
Yeah. I want someone to read my egg.
Yeah, I got egg you just come with a handful of eggs.
You get an egg. You get an egg. Everyone gets an egg.
My goal is one day in my life to go to this place, to and go specifically to the, Lake Catemaco, because of its spiritual energies, and I wanna crack an egg in that lake, and I wanna see what it says
While watching the herons.
while watching the herons. Freaking love herons. But yeah, I would say maybe scare scale on how scared would you be if you got, like, a bad psychic reading or something
It's
negative
like about the
happened.
flight home.
Yeah, oh god, I
You're
guess
just
I'm
stuck
staying.
there forever. Yeah, if that was the case, I mean, I'd give it a solid 8.
Yeah.
But if you got a good reading, I guess that's just it. You never know how your reading is going to be. It's a risk you're just willing to take if you're going to get your fortune told or your future read.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8 or 9 if I got a bad reading because I already have anxiety, and if someone tells me, like, I'm gonna overthink that like crazy. That's why I've never gotten a psychic reading, never done a palm reading, none of that. I just don't feel comfortable. Like, I just feel too scared that they're gonna tell me something bad.
Yeah, like I told you the first and last time I got it done,
Yeah, no,
they
I'm
said my
terrified.
grandma was going to die. And she did, like a
Jesus.
month later.
Jesus. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly my fear. Like, it's my fear realized, and it happened to you, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible at the time. It still is.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
No, it's fine. I think I would do it again.
Well,
Yeah, I think I would go here too.
yeah, I'd love to go here. It just seems amazing. Well, I'm happy we were able to escape into someplace a lot warmer this week, especially with how frigid cold it is outside right now.
And it will not stop snowing here in Michigan.
It won't, and I didn't even think it was supposed to snow today, and it snowed more.
I didn't think it was gonna snow all weekend, and it snowed the entire time.
I miss the warmth, but I'll
We
appreciate
just
the
need to go
snow
to
while it's
Mexico.
here. I know,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So, thank you all for joining us this week on Nature Obscura. If you have any spooky tales, any encounters with, magical beings in the forest,
If you've ever had your fortune told and it's come true, let us know.
I would. Or if it hasn't, and we can sympathize and empathize with you.
Or if you've ever cracked an egg and it was in a shape of something, let us know that as well.
Yes. In fact, I just cracked a theoretical egg into water, and it showed that you should follow our podcast for making it all the way through this episode. Thank you so much.
I love what you did there.
So, with that, make sure to give us a follow. And yeah, like Grace said, if you have any cool tales, psychic stuff, anything fun like that, make sure to email us at natureobscurapod@gmail.com.
Stay obscure, Earthlings.
Transmission ending.